everybody. I hope everybody can see the screen. We're going to get started right now. Marco's going to be admitting people while we got the presentation going. But let me just go ahead and start this with a quick intro video.
What do you think the challenge is that women are having, Black women in particular, when it becomes to becoming a wife?
Hey, Brandy.
Keeping it 100,
Yes.
there's not enough eligible Black males who fit the needs of Black women. By the time you dissect the demographics of finances, sexual orientation, what you end up drilling down into, because Black women tend to want to marry Black men.
Right.
So Black women are excelling. They're getting accelerated degrees, graduate degrees, doctorate degrees. They're starting businesses. Black women are running circles around men.
Right.
And it's also shown in research that women want to marry on their same level of financial and educational status.
Yeah.
So if you're a Black woman making $150,000 a year with a master's degree, you tend to want to marry a Black man on that same level or higher. If Black women are excelling at such an accelerated rate, how do men keep up with that?
All right, so that was Rebecca Lynn Pope, former matchmaker turned relationship and life coach, and she was talking. I want y'all to remember this video because we're gonna play it again just for people who didn't catch it on this first little clip. We're gonna play it again, but she has said some things there, and it's kind of gonna lead us into one of the discussions we're having tonight. We're talking about, can women have success and love, or do they have to choose? But that was Rebecca Lynn Pope giving her opinion on it. She was basically saying that as women get older, they're running circles around men and there aren't matches for them. And I hear a lot of women say that today. So we're going to break that down and try to analyze the validity of it from a data standpoint, as well as just from what y'all are seeing out there. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to all the new group members. What this group is about: learning something new, encouragement toward better health, wealth, and relationships. We're not a singles group, we're a friends group. So there's different expectations with the friends group. So I can't make no guarantees that you're going to come to this group and find that special someone, but I can guarantee that if you're willing, you'll find a friend. T Wills, Timmy just walked in the building. What's up, Timmy? Let's see here. We're about socializing with other positive people. We do online and in-person meetups. We have we're working on a lot of in-person meetups now. We got a football game. If you want to attend the football game, make sure you get your portion in before July 1st, because that's when we're purchasing the tickets. Let's see here. Kevin just scheduled. We're doing we're going to see the movie. We're renting out a theater. Only seating is limited, but I think Kevin is working on additional seating, and maybe he can talk more about that later if he wants. But we're trying to open up more room because 20 is kind of limited, especially for a group our size, and we already have like 60 people who RSVP'd. It's for that new Jordan Peele movie. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be on a first come first serve based on whoever gets their portion in for their ticket. So make sure y'all get that in. We're a meetup group created for Black people, but we don't discriminate on others on the basis of race, religion, or sexual orientation. With a lot of these conversations, I have an agenda, I'm not going to lie, and that's to restore the relationship between Black men and Black women, heterosexual relationships. But we don't discriminate on other people who may be of different persuasions or who have different preferences in terms of their sexual choices or what have you. But I just say that these conversations are geared toward repairing a relationship between Black men and Black women, but we don't discriminate on others based on race, religion, or sexual orientation. So everybody's welcome. But what these conversations are about are restoring a relationship, and I'll get on that in a second. To meet new people, also, let's see, why are we even doing these Zoom talks? Is to meet new people and see where they stand on important relationship issues, to learn more about the opposite sex, and to restore and encourage healthy relationships through engaging in conversation, to see more two-parent households or nuclear families. So that's the backdrop, and that's the context of why we're even having these conversations. I always like to preface that so people know why we're here, why we're talking about these things, is because we're trying to move in a direction here. And as y'all can see, this is a chart here from the Institute of Institute of Family Studies, and you see that in the Black community, only 36% of children live in a home with a father. So we're the lowest of any group. So we're trying to, talking about building nuclear families. As you can see, there's a dire need to do that again in the Black community. History prior to the 1960s and 70s, Black folks were the most married. I have some things on the right here that I think may have contributed to the decline, but I'm not sure. This is just for you all to ponder, but these are things that were kind of in the ethos that happened around that time that we may have saw the disintegration of the Black family. See, in the 60s, there was a passage of civil rights legislation. We were no longer fighting together. Race issues were seemingly resolved, but were they really? But anyway, we began to focus on other things in the 60s, going into the 80s. We started to see the advancement of feminism, and a lot of our sisters embrace feminism. And for fair context, I don't want to make it seem like feminism, a curse word, is a bad thing, because I'm a first wave feminist, but feminists begin to take on different forms and different evolutions. And a lot of our sisters embrace feminism, and I think that may have been in the air in terms of what may have contributed to some of the breakdown. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. In the 80s and going on to the 2000s, we saw the war on drugs and mass incarceration of our men. So it's multiple facets that are going on that have contributed to the breakdown of the Black family. And we're here trying to have some conversations in hopes of bringing us all back together. Let's see here. As you can see, Black marriage today, we are 50% of Black folks have never even been married. And these are folks of marrying age, this stat here. And we're the lowest of all groups. As you can see, with other communities, only 34%. So we got some work to do. And we're here trying to, these conversations are for folks who are intentional about building relationships. We love the opposite sex, and we want the best for each other. So we're trying to do a good thing here. So what this conversation is about: can women have success in love? And so we're also going to talk about sex and I messed it up. Look at that. I was in a rush. My stomach was messed up today, y'all. So I was struggling. I barely got this slide presentation out, but I think I got it out. But it's the 90-day rule. So we're going to talk about 90-day rule. We're going to talk about sex a little bit. I want to hear y'all's opinion. And we're going to talk about, can women have success in love? The thing that I think was dominating the conversation in the comments was sex. So we're gonna close the conversation with that. So we're gonna flip it, and we're gonna start the conversation with can women have success in love? Okay. But first, as y'all know, we like polls around here, and we have a poll to get us started. And I want to see what y'all think here. Let me get ready to launch this poll. And first is going to be gender based. So we're going to do the poll first for the women, then we're going to do it for the men, and we're asking 3 questions. The first, let me go ahead and launch it, and y'all can read it, and I'll talk y'all through it. But make sure y'all get by your computer, get by your phone, so y'all can answer this poll. And the poll is launched. I saw Simone is in the house. Simone, if you would, be a dear, and if you can screenshot the results after it's finished. Question 1 is, can women have both love and success, or will the majority of women have to choose one or the other? Question 2 is, do you believe that most men are intimidated by successful women? And question 3 is, do you believe that as a single woman ages and becomes more successful, that her chances of obtaining a partner at or above her level increases or decreases? And these are just the women are answering now. Fellas, I got a poll for y'all in a second. It's going to be the same poll, same questions, guys. So just hold off a second. We'll let the ladies answer and get their results, and then we'll get the fellas. Wow. Okay. These results are somewhat surprising to me, and I want to hear what people have to think. And as I say, as we're going through this presentation, I don't want to be so stiff with it, format and stuff like that. If something comes up in the presentation that y'all want to weigh in on, there's a reaction button at the bottom of Zoom. Just have your camera on, because people want to see you. People want to see your face. That, we're trying to make friends here. We're trying to get to know each other. Have your camera on. Hit the reaction button to raise your hand, and you'll be in the queue. As soon as we get a break in the presentation, we'll let you speak. But I'm going to end the poll in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and I'll show you the results here for the ladies. Sharing the results. Okay, so about almost 70% of ladies think they can have both. Let's see here, 80%, so even more, think that men are intimidated by successful women. And D, who's in the house, she actually prompted this poll. I don't get that, but a lot of ladies say that men are intimidated by successful women. I just don't agree. And a woman, okay, so let's see, 80% think that as a woman ages and becomes more successful, her chances of finding a partner at her level decreases. So it seems like y'all have kind of been aware of what's going on out here. And so some of y'all may have been living it. So that's where this stuff is coming from. So we're going to break down some of these stats and find out if if the data supports this or not. But we're going to get the fellas to get their thing, and I hope Simone can capture a screenshot of this. If not, it's all good. I think I can.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Thanks, Simone. Let's see here. We got Regine. Regine just walked in. We'll let Regine in, and we'll let the men answer. All right, fellas, the poll is now launched. Same questions. We'll give y'all a little less time because y'all had a chance to see what the questions were beforehand. See, we give you guys 15 more seconds, fellas. Let's get those answers in. Wow, look at this, man. I think we got a progressive group of men here by the results I'm seeing initially. I want to hear what the guys think about this. Let's see here. Oh, okay, yeah, I like these results are good. Okay, I'm gonna end it, guys, in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and let me share the results here. So, guys, it seems like we think. What's up, Harold? Harold just walked in the room. What's up, Harold? It's good to have you, brother. The guys think that women can have both, almost to the same degree that women think they can have both. But the thing I think that there's a sharp contrast in 80% of women thought that men are intimidated by successful women, and 80% of men say we're not. And I'm actually in the 80%. I don't get this intimidation factor that a lot of ladies are saying that men are having about their success. I don't know. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but a lot of ladies are feeling that. And a lot of guys are saying, I don't think that's the case. At least I'm not intimidated by a successful woman. And let's see here. And a little less percent of guys, I think it's a less percent, say that a woman's chance as she ages in, her success her chances of finding a mate decreases. All right. So that's the poll to get us started. And I think y'all are already aware of what's going on out here. So y'all seems like y'all know where the data is pointing. I think the data is kind of pointing the direction that y'all are going to start. But let me just start with Rebecca Lynn Pope again, because she's starting us off with a conversation. And I want to talk, and Rebecca Lynn Pope did somewhat of a little flip-flop here. And her message started very differently than what she's talking about today. But I want to share her message of yesteryear. And then we're going to go to her most recent message, and that's going to get us into our conversation. But just check this out.
Less than 3%, less than 14% of the entire American male population is over 6 foot. Less than 14%. And that's all the married men and the men in prison, all of them, girls. So you're sitting around here like, oh, he's got to be 6 foot and he's got to look like this and he's got to make 6 figures or 7 figures. When you start at just height alone, do you hear the percentage that I just gave you on just height? Just height. And if you add in what he looks like looking like Idris and making money like this and that, honey, look, you looking for the come up for real, because I don't know where he's at. I was matchmaking, I would be like, man, I would go find these incredible men. And they would be like, oh, I would never date him. I'm like, I just went and found a freaking pilot, ex-Falcons player. Are you serious? But he don't look, it's like he's gotta be perfect. But you're not perfect. You got issues and unresolved issues, and you got a temper, and you're bossy and you're controlling, and men don't even like to be around you long term. You run everybody away. You think you're so much the ish that you're bougie and vain and stuck up. And men don't like it. And you wonder why you can't keep a man. You wonder why nobody wants to be around you. Sweetheart, listen, get nice, be sweet. Men are simple creatures. They're simple, but your standards are standardizing you right out of the game. Everybody else is getting married. Everybody else is having babies. But you steady like, oh, I'm not settling. I'm not going to settle. I know what I deserve. And you know, even when I post those type of memes, I'm like, you know what? There's some real stuck up women right now that are about to read this, and it's going to reinforce literally their false standards, their ridiculous standards. You know what? I'm not going to settle. But in the meantime, boo, you're not even half the things that you have.
All right, so that was Rebecca Lynn Pope, and this was like fresh when she started her social media presence. She was frustrated with a lot of the clients because she was a matchmaker and she was frustrated with her clients, and she basically was saying that their standards were too high. She's since removed this video because I think she's taken a turn in the messaging that she wants to put out there. But this was her most popular video at one time on YouTube, but she's changed, her message has changed a little bit. And so I thought that was an appropriate meme there where Keen said, you sure you mean that, Rebecca? Because she was saying that a lot of ladies, they need to adjust their expectations. That's at least that's how she started. But today her message is quite different, and y'all saw earlier, but we're gonna play it again because some more people have entered the room. But this is what Rebecca Lynn Pope is saying these days.
What do you think the challenge is that women are having, Black women in particular, when it becomes to becoming a wife?
Keeping it 100,
Yes.
there's not enough eligible Black males who fit the needs of Black women. By the time you dissect the demographics of finances, sexual orientation, what you end up drilling down into, because Black women tend to want to marry Black men.
Right.
So Black women are excelling. They're getting accelerated degrees, graduate degrees, doctorate degrees. They're starting businesses. Black women are running circles around men.
Right.
And it's also shown in research that women want to marry on their same level of financial and educational status.
Yeah.
So if you're a Black woman making $150,000 a year with a master's degree, you tend to want to marry a Black man on that same level or higher. If Black women are excelling at such an accelerated rate, how do men keep up with that?
All right, so that's her message today. And just for context, I'm not saying I completely disagree with her message in there. I think if there's anything I can nitpick with what she said there, what she said, Black women are running circles around Black men. We're gonna look at the data to see what she means by running circles around Black men, just to see if that's true or not, because it could be true, couldn't be true, cannot be true. But that's the only thing in her statement that I have a problem with. But I just wanted to contrast the messaging that she's changed here. So we're gonna ask the question: is she right? This Omar Epps, I don't know. Omar Epps looks like he's a little skeptical. Is she right? Let's see what the data shows. All right, so the data here on this slide is going to come from Black demographics, and as y'all can see, we're going to have two graphs here. One is going to be for single people, men and women under the age of 40, i.e. millennials, and the one's going to be for single people above the age of 40, i.e. Generation X folks. And as y'all can see, if you look at the metrics here, the numbers here, in every category, it might be a little small, I don't know if y'all can see it, what y'all are looking on, but in every category under $100,000, women outnumber men. This is just for Black folks specifically in every category, except when we get to 100K and more, and this is below the age of 40. So as y'all can see here, and as y'all can see with education, women outnumber men are getting more advanced degrees. But if y'all can just look, just in terms of the numbers here, it's a little tight. It's when we talk about above 50K, going above, from 50K and up, the numbers are a lot more close. So if you're under the age of 40 and you're looking to find someone, if you're a lady and you're looking to find someone who kind of at your level or higher, the chances are higher right now when you're a millennial and you're under 40. But things start to change as we age. What was that? Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is going to be the dating scene after 40, and this is from the same website, Black demographics. And as y'all can see, from 41 on, the numbers begin to leap up more so than they were before. And this is like taking account the single Black folks 40 and over. And as y'all can see that y'all contrasted two different sides, that women start to really take off 40 and after, and there's a lot more single women in this metric than there were before. And so we're going to try to break down why some of that is happening here, and I have some data that I think can kind of explain some of it. Let's see here. So why the disparity of successful Black women post 30? And by disparity, I mean, why is there an excess of them? Let's see here. And the number one thing that I can look at is interracial marriage. And we talked about this in the conversation we had on interracial marriage, but this here is from Pew Research. And as you can see, Black men are twice as likely to marry outside their race than Black women. And if a Black man typically marries at the age of, his mid-30s onward, it would make sense that there's going to be less men in this less single men in this Generation X category because they're not dating in the same pool. They're going outside the pool. So that's going to explain some of the numbers there. Also, a lot of the black men who are educated tend to intermarry a lot at a higher rate than other men. And as you can see here on the right here, men with the bachelor's degrees or higher is 30%, whereas 13% of black women. So that's one of the factors that's playing into the cake in terms of why, like past 40, black women who are financially successful are having a hard time finding a mate who's at their level or lower. And there's one more factor here that I think plays a root that's baked into the pie as well, is that men tend to marry down in age. Let's see here. The older the man is, the larger the age gap in that he'll marry down. And let me pull this up. This is from Stanford University. And it says men in their 40s tend to marry women who average 7 years younger. So if a man's in his 40s on this Generation X slide, he's going to be removed from this single generation, and because he's dating someone who's in the millennial generation. Let's see here. Men in their 50s are marrying brides who are 11 years younger, according to England's research. He's the person who conducted the research. And men in their 60s, they marry women who are at least 13 years younger. So this is why we're seeing a disparity or a drop off in terms of the available number of black men for black women, because a lot of men, they're dating younger. They're also leaving the dating pool. And a lot of women, they have education and they're making a lot more money the older they get past 40. And that's for and women tend to have a need to want to date someone who's at their level or higher. So that's the disparity there. So the question that we ask is, can women have success and love? And that's all I got. That's the data. I'm not a relationship coach here. I'm not here to tell anybody the truth about themselves or anything like that. That's not my thing. That's not my shtick. I just try to present the data and let everybody form their own opinions. But that's all I got in terms of the information for that one. Does anybody want to weigh in or say anything before we move into this whole sex conversation, or is everybody here for the sex talk? I think y'all might be here for the sex talk. But if y'all want to weigh in, have your cameras on, hit the reaction button and raise your hand, and we can let you weigh in real quick. We're going to take a little break. We're also going to do another poll, and we're going to get right to the next topic. Nobody wants to say anything. Man, it's a quiet crowd tonight. All right, so that's it. So I guess y'all kind of, the data's the data. I guess everybody's kind of like, there's no dispute with the data. It is what it is. Maybe in one of these conversations we can have some solutions and maybe talk about, maybe after we go through the whole presentation, maybe some folks can probably bring up some things that may help or what have you. So we're going to launch another poll here. It's going to lead us into the sex conversation, and it's going to be the same thing again. We're doing a gender poll, and we're doing women first and then men. We only have 2 questions for this one. And let's see here. I'm going to launch it. And the questions are pretty simple. Could you wait until marriage to have sex? Yes, no, or hell no. And would you subscribe to a 90-day rule? Yes or no? And we'll give y'all a few seconds to answer. These results are, let's see here. Okay. I'm interested how the fellas are going to answer. I'm going to end the poll in about 10 more seconds, give a few more people a chance to answer. And here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 in the poll. And let me share the results here. So as you can see, okay, about 40% could wait until marriage, but the majority, no, it's not happening. It's a no-go for majority of the ladies here. Let's see here. And about 65% said they can go with a 90-day rule. 35% said, nah, they ain't really rocking with the 90-day rule. We're going to talk about the 90-day rule in a second. Now let's launch the poll for the fellas. Same questions, guys. Let's see what y'all think. We'll see here. Got a few less gentlemen in the house. We'll give y'all 15 more seconds, guys, to answer that. And then we'll share the results. All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let me share. Peggy just walked in. Peggy missed the poll, but she made it in. As you can see, the guys like, okay, about a quarter of the guys said they could wait until marriage to have sex, but a majority of guys, nah, they ain't waiting. And let's see, 20, so even less percent of guys would subscribe to the 90-day rule. So okay, there we go. We're gonna hear. I'm curious to hear y'all's opinions, fellas. I hope Simone had a chance to get a screenshot of those. I was moving kind of fast there, Simone. Did you have a chance, Simone?
I got the men's, but not the women's.
Okay, let me pull up the women's real quick, and I can share the results again. If you could just snap that for me, please. Got it, Simone?
Yeah, I got it.
Thanks, Simone. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. So when it comes to sex, the thing that I found is that the Black community, we're a sea of opinions, and folks were definitely weighing in the comments, voicing their opinions. We had Brother Ron, he gave his opinion there. Peggy, who just walked in, she said, "What happened to 3 days? What happened to 3 days? At some point, you have to take the car for a test drive. By day 90, you're either rocking with me or return to the dealership." So as you see, is men and women who kind of go on both sides of this thing here. D said, "I agree with you. I don't think the men have either directly explained why they argue against abstinence, but are with submission. Hopefully this can finally be addressed properly." Okay, so as you can see, D was saying like guys were quick to talk about submission. They cherry pick the Bible and talk about submission, but when we talk about the biblical injunction or the understanding of the Bible to wait until marriage to have sex, a lot of guys conveniently leave that part out, but they're quick to talk about submission. So D's pointing at the hypocrisy of that. We have Brother Derek, who said, he had a comment that a lot of folks agree with. He said, "It's a person's right to set the rules for themselves, but the other party can opt out and keep moving if they choose. Doesn't make either side greater or less of a person. But speaking as a guy, my mind is already made up about a woman before 90 days in. One extra day won't elevate or degrade her in my eyes." And I think I more so agree with the spirit of what Derek is saying there. And I just want to say where I'm going with all of this. If there's anything that I want to do in this conversation, is to have us all be more conscious about our sex choices, So I'm not trying to tell women, tell men when to have sex or when it's appropriate to have sex or anything of that nature. But the thing I'm trying to encourage us to do is just be more conscious about it, because I'm going to show some stuff here in a second, and I don't think we're doing it as a community. We're not doing it the right way. But my goal is to just have us be more conscious, and everybody can pick what seems appropriate to them as long as they're conscious. And that's my goal in this conversation. Timmy, I think Timmy's in here, but he had said something. He said, "Should be a great discussion on the 28th. Women should put out on a second date to make sure both parties are sexually satisfied, and women can have both success and love as long as she know the man is the head of the house and has a final decision in the relationship. There's no 50-50 man. There's no 50-50. Man is the head and woman is the help." I think he meant helpmate. He said woman is the helpmate, period. So he has the standard traditional view in terms of the gender roles, but it seems like he thinks that women need to put out on the second date, whereas Peggy thinks the third date. So as you can see, it's a sea of opinions out here. There's all kinds of things that people think on what's appropriate, but probably one of the more interesting things, the Black Man Travels. I don't know. I think this is one of Bacchus's homeboys. He has said the 90-day rule is utter foolishness. No man will co-sign this unless he's already smashing on the side. I'm co-signing it, and I'm not smashing on the side. But anyway, why implement this mating strategy later in life when you most busted wide open during your youth, which resulted in kids, emotional hangups, etc.? Just saying. And I thought it was interesting. Simone, you like this? Simone liked this comment. I don't. This. He has some pretty harsh things there. But we're going to keep it pushing here. So as you can see, there's different opinions out here on sex. But my goal, again, is to just have us be more conscious and aware of what we're doing and how we're treating our bodies. But these are some of the more common opinions on when to have sex. Some folks subscribe to abstinent, or celibate. I don't know. I can't really figure out the difference between those two until marriage. Some people say only in a committed relationship. Some people say after 90 days or thereabout. Some people say after date 2 or 3, as we saw in the comments. And some people just say casually, just when the mood strikes. So there's different opinions about when to have sex. But I want to talk about the results of our predominant ways of engaging in sex today. So what have been the results of the ways in which we engage in sex today? And that's the reason why I think what prompted me to have this conversation with you all. And I really want to hear you all's opinions, but just some stuff here. Let's see here. We have the highest rates of teen pregnancy. Let's see the greatest number of out of wedlock birth rates. And we're juxtaposing this in terms of American Black folks to other communities. Greatest numbers of unplanned pregnancies. 70% of children grow up in homes without fathers. That's according to the Institute of Family Studies. Let's see here, the fastest growing rates of HIV and AIDS. These next stats and data is coming from the CDC. 18 times more likely to contract gonorrhea. This is 18 times more compared to white folks. See here, 5 times more likely to contract syphilis. 1 in 4 have herpes. 90% of those 1 in 4 are even unaware they have it. So if you subscribe to so if for chances are high, if you're having a lot of sexual partners within a year, that you're more than likely you're running into somebody with an STD according to the data. And these are the results of our sexual practices today. And least like in terms of all groups, in America, we're the least likely to be married. So I think the thing that I just really want to ask us all is what if our current ways of thinking about sex, what has this gotten us? And it's interesting that it appears that if we look at the data, we're having the most sex of every group, and it's resulting in the least amount of marriages. So something's not working. And I guess it would assume that for most people, that for us, a marriage is the goal, but I'm not sure if that's the goal for everyone, as we talked about in a few conversations ago. But anyway, I think it's curious that we're doing a lot of, we're getting it on, but we're not getting married. No, it's none of that. No long-term commitment happened, but we're still having sex. Let's see here. So is it time we do something different? And I think it's time. I think it's high time we do something different. And we're going to talk about some things here. And I got a few more videos, and we're going to get right into the conversation. I hope y'all got y'all's pen and paper out. Get y'all thoughts together, because I want to hear from everyone. But I think it's time we do something different. And if I look at the stats here, it seems that the thing to do is I'm going to let the video talk for me. And I'm going to let Stephen Speaks, who I've just discovered maybe a month or two ago, and he's going to do a lot of talking for me. But I kind of more or less agree with, or I echo everything that he's saying in this little clip here that I have. It's about 3 minutes, and then we have one more clip, 2 minutes, and then that'll be it, y'all. But I agree with my opinion is that of what Stephen Speaks about to say here in this video. But listen to Stephen.
I do think that what is best is for us to wait till marriage. I cannot call myself a man of God and not encourage that principle, that biblical principle of waiting till marriage. I do think that if people could wait, that would be the best thing. However, with that said, I completely understand the reality that most people are not waiting till marriage. And so this is not, I ain't judging, I'm not looking down, because I've slipped up many times in my life before. And so we're going to talk about this within the context of not waiting till marriage. So if anyone says, oh, you should be just telling them to wait till marriage, I get that. But I want to discuss this because if people are not waiting, I still want to give you advice within that dynamic. All right. With that said, my view on the 90-day rule, Steve Harvey's 90-day rule. I like the premise of it. All right. I like the premise of giving yourself time to evaluate what's really going on here. Should you be dealing with this man? Should you move forward? The reality is that so many people jump into bed way too fast with someone. And for many, it clouds their judgment, number one. So their ability to really see what's going on, if we have a genuine connection, is clouded by getting sexually involved too soon. A lot of people are still dealing with someone right now, or have dealt with someone longer than they should because of sex. Plain and simple. So getting intimate way too soon has a lot of pitfalls. So I think waiting, if it is 90 days for you, again, the premise of it is good. So ultimately, listen, I do think that the longer you can wait, the better. Again, you gotta give yourself time to evaluate this person, to make sure there's a connection there, to make sure you can not get emotionally or caught up with someone who you don't belong with. All right, and intimacy accelerates attachment for many people, for most situations. Unless it's just plain bad, then it might accelerate detachment. But other than that, it can accelerate the attachment and unhealthy attachment to that individual. So I do believe when Steve Harvey says wait 90 days, the premise is right. Waiting is good. Giving yourself some time is good, but it's less about the time and it's more about doing the work, doing your due diligence. And if you've done that and you've accomplished that and you know that we are on the same page, or again, you have gotten to a place where you are truly comfortable, then that is your choice.
All right, so that was Stephen Speaks, and to like I said, I pretty much agree with what he was saying there. I think that if we're to turn this thing around as a community, I do think the gold standard is we should wait until marriage. Because we had another conversation, and a lot of ladies were upset. A lot of Christian ladies were upset with me because they felt like I was promoting things that were contrary to what they believe, and that actually wasn't the case. I was just talking about, I said we did a conversation on when to expect sex, and I say most guys expect sex around dates 5 to 8 typically, is what I think most guys, when most guys expect it. And that was just my opinion on when I think they expect it. I didn't make a pronouncement saying that's when I think it should happen, but just to firmly put my personal opinion out there, I think that we should wait until marriage. But I'm like Stephen, I realize that it's a hard thing to do, especially as you get older, and marriage is a risky proposition for a lot of people. Marriage is a risky proposition for myself. And I don't, it's a lot to bank on the fact that you're going to have a healthy, thriving sex life after marriage, especially when you have a lot to lose. And a lot of people just don't want to open that door or go down that road. So I get it. We live in different times than times past. So things are different here. But he's saying that in general, he agrees with the premise or the spirit of what the 90-day rule is saying, which is basically saying, hey, give yourself 90 days, get to know somebody, get comfortable with the person before you form that attachment. Because as you have sex, there are things that are happening, that's going to create a more attachment. It's happening biologically. Y'all read the book, The Conversation. There are biological things that are happening. Oxytocin's being released. We're forming those, and it's called the bonding chemical, bonding hormone, and we're becoming more attached. Things are happening in different ways. So I generally agree, but he said, but the pushback he says, it shouldn't be about 90 days because it's going to be different for different people. Like if it's been 90 days and you've been out on 3 dates with a person in 90 days and you talk to them every so often, your 90 days is going to be different than another person whose 90 days is they've been out on several dates. They've been out on 10 plus dates, and they've been communicating, talking regularly, and talking about their expectations and getting to know one another. So for that person, it could happen sooner. They may be comfortable sooner than another person who's not getting to know a person as quickly. So, but he agrees with the spirit of what he's saying. I think I do too. And for me, and what I found in life is that 90 days seems to be a good number in terms of getting to know somebody, being aware and looking out for red flags. This is me personally from what I've observed in terms of actually getting to know someone and talking to them and then seeing things, because things come up within those 90 days, even toward the end of 90 days, that you just found out that you didn't know initially. I think Derek was saying that he knows much quicker than 90 days. It depends on the woman, I think. Depends on the level of conversations that y'all are having, how often y'all are having these conversations. One more video, and that's going to be the end of it.
This is why, for women, I need you to watch this video because it will radically change your view on dating.
I know that's kind of low,
Your
sorry.
concern should not be so focused on getting picked, but on being with the right person. This is the partner, ideally, that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And so you need to be focused on compatibility and seeing if this person is a good match with you.
Focus on compatibility.
If you even like this person, and seeing if you can get along. Unfortunately, we usually get so caught up in the fairy tale of it all, we're more focused on whether or not we're going on fancy dates, if we're getting an opportunity to get all dolled up, and all these other irrelevant things that don't matter. I was talking with a friend the other day, and it led me to come up with what I'm calling the discovery phase. The 90-day rule, you guys have probably all heard about sex, right? It talks about waiting 90 days before you have sex with the man so that there could be some sort of clarity and you could weed out the guys that are no good for you. But I want to take this rule even further. The 90-day rule should be about a period of discovery, right? Like if you are going to purchase a house, you have a time period in which you can kind of inspect the house, test the bones, see if you like it, do a little bit of research before you actually sign on the dotted line. Well, with relationships, it should be no different. You should take those first 3 months to really sit back and observe. Instead, what we as women tend to do is we dictate and give direction. This is the fantasy that I have, and so, man, that I'm going to insert into the picture, I need you to do X, Y, Z so that you can make this dream come true. The thing is that we are giving him access to us that he hasn't earned.
All right. So she flipped it and she said that, typically we think of the 90-day rule in terms of sex, like don't have sex before 90 days. But she's flipped it and said, don't be in a quick rush to get into a relationship within 90 days. And she coined the term, I think she coined it, the discovery phase. Figure out if you like that person, if you're compatible with that person. Discover, don't just be like, don't be just so quick to jump into a relationship, because in these 90 days, you may find out things that you may find this person is not a good fit for you. So she flipped the script a little bit, and she gave advice to women, but I think men can also apply this as well. And I looked at this video and I thought it was great. And I'm trying to do like a little 90-day rule thing myself. And I was talking, I want to be a little transparent here, but I was talking to a lady and she was getting really impatient with the 90 days thing. It's like real talk. She was getting really impatient with it. And, you start to see things in 90 days that you wouldn't see had you rushed into things. And so I think I think it's a good rule to live by. I think more people should embrace it, men and women. But it's just something I think it's just a good rule of thumb. Let's see, it gives you time to really so why do I like the 90-day rule? It gives you time to really gives you a good amount of time to get to know and discover someone before sex or get into a relationship to determine compatibility. And it gives you time to get an STD test together. How often are people who engage in sex, are we going to get an STD? We saw the stats in the previous slide, in the previous screen there, to see how prevalent STDs are running out here. Are you, before you engage in sex, are you getting an STD test? So in those 90 days, you can use that time to get to know a person, figure if you like them, if you want to make it happen. Why not get an STD test in that amount of time, just to see what's up with them? Let's see here, and give yourself a standard. Nothing wrong with having standards for ourselves. And I think a lot of ladies may have some concerns about embracing the 90-day rule because like, well, men are already hard to come by, and so this may make it even harder. But the thing I really want to tell women, and I don't want to tell women this, but let me just say this: you have to think, women, in terms of y'all's anatomy, you're more susceptible to STDs than men. On having sex with a man biologically is more biologically significant than a man. We talk about the thing releasing chemicals, oxytocin, i.e. the bonding hormone. Talk about how within women, there's chemicals in their bloodstream 3 days, whereas a man, 3 hours. So it's different. It's just different for men and women. And so I don't think women should let men shame them if they want to embrace this 90-day rule. If they want to embrace waiting until sex, until marriage. Don't let men shame you, because it's different. It's going to be different for guys and gals. You know what I mean? So it's different. You know what I mean? We have different anatomies, different things are happening for us. Okay. So I like the 90-day rule. I'm a proponent of it. And that's all I got here. Let me stop the share. And like, again, if y'all want to weigh in on this, I know we said a lot. Give your opinion. I'm just giving my opinion. We got Michael in the house. What's up, Michael? It's good to see you. Got Carlos in the house. It's good to see you, Carlos. We got Regina in the house. Everybody's popping up. Good seeing everybody. Y'all want to weigh in, hit the reaction button. Let's get your cameras on because people want to see y'all's lovely faces. There's a lot of different opinions out there. I just want to hear y'all's opinion. What do y'all think about what we talked about so far? Just to recap, we talked about, can women have love and success? Where'd you go, brother? You can put your reaction back on. We want to hear from you, brother. We talked about, can women have love and success? Then we start talking about sex. Then we start talking about the 90-day rule. What are y'all thoughts on it? I see You know how to rate, you know how to hit the reaction, Dr. Brandis? You can hit the reaction, you can weigh in. Yeah, just hit the reaction, or maybe you can't got it going, but we can, if you want to get in there, we can let you in there. We're gonna let Craig go. And then as Craig's talking, maybe some more people get brave on us. Hollywood, want to hear from you. Bacchus, we got to hear from you. Man, y'all are shy tonight, man. Well, I don't know what to do with y'all. Go ahead, Craig, you got it. I'm gonna spotlight you here.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. It's so awesome to be here, and I really like the topic. But I have a few questions, but I'm going to stop at two. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Number one, you mentioned, I don't know if it's your opinion or what, but I think you mentioned something about the chemicals being released,
right,
and all that stuff. Do you actually have data that backs up that fact?
I've read there's data on it. It's not my data. I didn't research it. I read it in a book, and maybe I'm assuming the author of the book did his data. We have a book club, Craig, and he had talked about this in the book. So it's a real thing according to him, and he's a Harvard graduate. So I don't think he would mislead us. But so that's that. What's your second question, brother?
Yeah, I would love to see the data, but it's something for me to go look up because it's pretty interesting.
Do you deny it or
I neither deny it or accept it. I don't know what it is. It's just new to me. I'm a data driven. I like to see data and facts, right?
Right.
Number two, you mentioned about the 90-day rules, and you are up, you co-sign on it and all that stuff. But
right.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I disagree, and here is why.
Mm-hmm.
If we're pushing females to push for that 90-day rule.
Hold on. Right? Okay, let me just pause you real quick. I'm not pushing for females. I'm pushing for the Black community. I'm pushing for men and women.
Okay.
I think as men, we have to have a standard too, but go ahead.
Yeah, so you really can't know somebody within 90 days, right? Because you could live with somebody for a year and still not know that person. Mm-hmm. Right. So I don't think it's wise to say give somebody a time frame like 90 days and try to set that benchmark in a sense and say, okay, hold it up for 90 days and you'll get to know that person. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I could see somebody, right? And I'll play by the rules and get what I want within 90 days. And I still don't have interest in it. I just wanted what I want. Right. So if we're pushing this 90-day rule, I think we should be more strategic about it in a sense to say, okay, look for signs, ask the right questions, something around that frame instead of saying, you know what, you got to wait for 90 days. Because I'm telling you straight, like if a guy sees somebody and they want to get into bed with them, it's easy for us to just say, you know what, I think we will take more time to understand that female than the female take time to understand that guy, right? Mm-hmm. So once we understand the female, we know how they think. So we'll play the rule until we get what we want. That doesn't necessarily mean that we want to be with them or looking for a commitment with them. We just play that rule. Just an FYI, that's just my opinion anyways. And I've seen it happen for years.
There you go. And to be honest, I don't completely disagree with your opinion, and I'm not necessarily pushing the 90-day rule. If there's anything I'm pushing, is I'm saying that we need to be thoughtful and be aware of how we're engaging and having sex, because I'm a community man and I want the community to do better. And I don't know if you were here for the statistics that I shared, but things are pretty bleak right now in terms of the community. So I'm trying to push a solution out there for people who are absolutely certain they can't wait until marriage. And I think for me, it seems to be a 90-day rule is a good rule of thumb. But I do agree with what you're saying there, that 90 days may not be enough to get to know a person. And that could very well be true depending on the interaction you're having with that person. But if there's anything that I'm pushing, is that we be aware and conscious. Thanks, Jana, for sharing that data with oxytocin, the love hormone in the clip there. So maybe Craig, when you get a chance, somebody just posted it in the chat, Craig. But yeah, if there's anything no problem. If there's anything I'm pushing, it's that we be conscious about how we're engaging in sex, and that if we can, let's try to wait until marriage. But I don't think that's going to happen. And people ask me if I'm going to do it. If I met the right woman, I will wait until marriage. I'm not going to even trip. But I'm not going to. Then again, I'm not going to wait years to get married either. So it's a different thing. If your timeline is different, if your timeline is short for marriage, then you can put up with you can wait until marriage. But if you have a long timeline and a long horizon, which is what a lot of us have until we get married, then it's going that 90-day rule or wait until marriage is going to be a lot more difficult. So there's anything I'm pushing is, hey, let's wait until we get married. Why not? And that's providing that I'm going into marriage with someone I'm equally yoked with financially and in all other respects. But that's it right there. All right, thanks, Craig. I appreciate you. If you want to weigh in after everybody goes through, we can get you way back in there. But I think you had some good commentary. Got one of our regulars in the house, Jay. Jay, what you got for us, man?
Mic check, mic check. What up?
What up?
So pretty much, well, I was taking notes. Let me start with the 90-day rule thing. I think, fellas, you don't want to be the person that gets all these rules. I think most men want to be the man that she breaks the rules for. So I don't know if, I think it's 25% who said they will wait. I don't know if that's your goal. You want to be the guy that she gives all these rules to, and you figure out and you find and you hit all these targets. I think if women had to go Dutch for 90 days, they wouldn't do it. They don't want to pay the bills all the time. They want to do some of the stuff. So I say, to add to that, let's say we go Dutch 90 days. I think women would rather waste your time, but they wouldn't want to waste their money. And I think with the whole 90-day period also, women are a little bit more harsh with quote unquote bad sexual experiences. So, if they wait 90 days and, things ain't hook up chemistry wise, then you wasted 90 days. Y'all could have found that out on, month 1. So I'm gonna leave it like that.
All right. Let me get my video back here. Yeah. I don't completely disagree with what you're saying there, Jay. I do think that women make certain rules for some men, and other men they break their rules. For the thing that I'm advocating for is that men and women, we both have a standard, and we live by that standard, and we embrace the standard. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there. And then the last point, what was your last point again? I was trying to grab a piece of paper so I could write it down.
The last point was like, let's say,
oh, you said that you may wait until 90 days and then find out it's not compatible.
They act like sex is not important, right? But then you have a bad sexual experience. She will write you off. She will tell all her friends. There is no understanding. There's no middle ground. There's no let's see, let's that. So I think when it comes to that, I think men have more, what can I say? Men have more bandwidth, to figure things out. I think women are more like, nah, it's not working out. We're done. We're finished. I
got you. So you're saying after 90 days, if the sex ain't great, you waited 90 days and waste a lot of time and resources just to find out. And I tried, I'm for transparency, I'm trying out the 90-day rule thing. I think there's ways that you can determine vaguely if there's sexual compatibility. So I'm not saying that with my 90 days, I'm not saying there's no sort of sexual contact. So things are happening. And you're kind of determined if there's some level of chemistry, but you're just not going all the way. But I think things are happening, so you're not completely in the dark if you're doing it the way that I'm trying to do it, or the way that I'm doing it. All right, D, you're up. D, I see you. You're right. You were next up on the queue.
Because I didn't want you to hit. I didn't want you were on my point just now. Okay, look, it's you're either having sex or you're having intimacy. Which one are you going for? Because sex is just sex, right? Anyone can have sex. Most of us are going for intimacy, an emotional whatever experience. So within your 90 days is not for that person per se. Your 90 days are for you. You're really evaluating yourself with this person. Intimacy is spa dates. It's some people go to those couple yoga, they're developing intimacy without having sex, making love. Because in my 90 days, I honestly want to make love to you. I don't want to have sex with you. If I'm having sex with you, no, you're not going to last. If I'm having sex with you, no, I'm not going to last my 90 days. So you have to figure out, like you keep saying, you have to figure out what exactly are your 90 days for. And it's a conversation. If that person says no, he or she was not your person. That person that's going to be for you is going to be on the same page, the same level. They're going to be going for the same thing. Within those 90 days, it's still a conversation. Hey, day 40 is a little tough for me. Hey, let's go do whatever we need to do to be intimate, to be touching each other, to give you some type of satisfaction. But that whole Dutch thing and all of that, that's some easy stuff. That's shallow. That's easy. Hopefully you're talking to someone that doesn't mind going Dutch or doesn't mind paying. You have to know who you're dealing with. If you're still arguing with a person about paying for you or doing things for you, that's not your person. So again, the 90 days is for you, not for them.
Right. And yeah, I agree. I think I agree with pretty much everything you said there, D. And I kind of agree. I don't, in those 90 days, I don't, this whole stuff that a lot of, I think we need to start with the basics with a lot of stuff that the guys are complaining about being used with dates and stuff like that. You need to date people who are into you and who like you. As a guy, you need to have more social awareness to figure out if a woman's into you or not. Because then those sort of questions about getting played for a dinner date and, all that stuff, that just goes out the window because a woman's into you. So I don't really have that struggle. I think guys, we just need to be more, again, we need to be more conscious and aware of the women we're dating. When you're on an app and you're finding your dates through a swipe, and then you're having a few conversation exchange, and then you go out and meet this woman, of course you're going to get used because you don't know too much about her, but you gotta finesse it a little better, or you got to get to know her a little more before going on that date to figure out if she's really into you or not. So a lot of guys, let's see, how Cardo, when you wait in 90 days. I told you I'm trying it now. I told you I'm on a 90-day thing now. What's up, D?
Can I say one more thing? Also, there's a lot of people that are commenting about bad sex. If you've that time with that person and you guys finally do get to the bed, you guys hopefully have created patience with each other. You can teach someone how to please your body. If you can teach them how to, if I can curse on here, if you can fuck their mind, you can definitely fuck their body.
Right.
Period. So it comes with patience and communication. You can tell someone how to put their lips on anything or whatever. Sorry, I'm vulgar, but
no, we all adults here. You speaking the truth.
Yeah, sex is a conversation. So if you're having bad sex, blame you. That's just blame you.
So yeah, some people agree, some people don't agree, D, but that's the nature of things here. But I agree with what you're saying there. What you got for us, Marsha?
Hey, so for me, I'm not really into following rules. Not to say that I'm just easily jumping into bed with men. That's not the case either. But for me, I still want the whole process of getting to know the person. I'm not putting the whole time limit on, it has to be 90 days. It's going to eventually pass that anyway, because I'm trying to really get to know this person. So I'm not really putting a time frame on it to, okay, well, now it's 90 days. Okay, I'm going by this, I'm going by that. I'm just really trying to get to know that person. So normally for me, it normally takes a few months to get, to know that person and feel like if I'm comfortable with that person, I want to, take it the next route, or we can discuss it together on where we want to go from here. As far as I'm reading my notes, one thing I do want to ask is the sexual part of it. For me, I feel like as a woman, when you're getting to know a man, you really don't know what he's packing. Is there a way to ask that question without insulting him? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to waiting until marriage to have sex with this person, I'm not going to do that. Because
can I please answer that? No. I love you. I love her.
I need to know what it is I'm going to be receiving, and I'm sure he's probably want to know what he's going to be receiving too. So it's like, I want to know: is there a way, if I am feeling a man, and we decide to we want more, and we want to continue this, is there a way to kind of ask?
Yes.
You
hold on.
What he has before
D, if you can answer her really quick, D, just real quick, respond to her.
Okay. So again, am I on it? Okay. So again, I love you, by the way. I miss you, Nancy. Okay. Marsha. Anywho.
Me too.
Yes. By that time, you guys should be in that communicating and understanding where you are. You should be undressing and be comfortable around this man. He should give you a level of, he's going to respect your body. You guys should be taking showers and massaging each other. You should be laying him on the bed or laying him, straddling him, when you guys are watching TV, you should know, you will know, and he's going to know everything about you. You should be getting wet through your pants at this point where he knows that it ain't dry. There's ways to find out about this man's package. There's ways for him to find out if you wet or not. Y'all gonna need a little help. All that is.
Yeah, Nancy's a lot of people say,
I can say,
hold on. Go ahead.
I guess for me, when I'm in a talking stage or I'm starting to get to know this person, I will not be doing that. But if we do decide to be serious,
yes,
certain questions I will present and ask, but I was just trying to figure a way of asking without being so straightforward and just kind of being so like strong arming him about it. But that's really where I was coming from.
Nakeem is asking, is this in a committed relationship or casually dating multiple people? I think this is just in the first 90 days, Nakima. So I don't know where people are going to be at. When I'm talking about the first 90 days, I'm talking about casually talking to other people. And and to answer Marsha's questions from a man perspective, I think most men, if they're confident with themselves, they wouldn't, in that, if you're curious, they won't have no problems showing you what they got. But just with a caveat, you want to know they're gonna want to do more than just that at the moment you're asking. Like, you want to see it, like what you're gonna do when it's out or what have you. So
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to come off as if I'm trying to, but this is when when I feel that I'm comfortable with this person. I know that we want more with each other after the time that we've gotten to know each other. Like, I'm not saying I'm meeting a bunch of dudes and I'm like, okay, what are you holding? That's not where I'm going with that. Second, to comment on Jay's, what he said about going Dutch. For me, if I'm talking to somebody and we're not dating, we're just talking, I wouldn't mind paying for my own. That way, he don't have to worry about expecting anything from me, and we can just kind of just really focus on getting to know each other. Right. But when I have presented that with people that I have dated, they, of course, the men that I've dated don't want me to pay. They want to be the ones to pay, even though I, put that out there. Or some of them may feel insulted by me saying that. So I just let them pay. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, no, I want to pay. I'll just let them pay. But other than that, I'm okay with doing that because I'm fine with just paying my own way, because we're just talking. We're not seriously dating. But if we do go into, dating seriously, I would want him to go ahead and plan those dates and pay.
All right. Thanks, Marsha. Peggy, if you can get your camera on, we'll go to you. But if not, we're going to go ahead and move forward to Brother Jay. Jay wants to weigh back in.
I'm fixing my hair. I have a bathrobe on. I'm sorry.
All right. Take your time. We'll come back to you. What you got for us, Jay?
Oh man, I'm trying to get all my thoughts together. D, how y'all doing all these sexual things and not having sex? Why are you teasing this man? And why you think that's okay?
No.
Hold on, D. Hold on.
Wait. Let me add this. So Marsha asked you, about asking what the size of the man package is, and you didn't really answer. But even if he gives you an answer, what if it's not to your liking? Then what?
All right, so just hold that in the chamber, D. We're not going to skip over Deirdre, but hold that in the chamber. Jay has a question for you, and write it down and do what you got to do. But we're going to go to Deirdre. What you got for us?
As far as the 90-day rule goes, I mean, in theory, it's a good idea, but there's no blueprint for this. Like all of it, the whole dating thing, there's no blueprint. If there was, there would be more of us in committed and thriving relationships. Right. So I think that it just depends on the couple, on you and this person that you're talking to. Communication is key. I'm huge on communication. I believe in talking things out or whatever. And then I go with my feelings. However I feel, that's how I feel. So if it's week 2 and I feel like I want to give myself to this person, that's what I'm going to do. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then that's another lesson learned. But there are no rules to this. And I definitely would not wait until marriage to have sex with a person, because that can potentially cause problems too. Because a lot of people are saying, well, what if they're no good? What if they think you're no good? So that whole driving the car thing, test driving the car, I don't like the way that sounds, but it is true. You want to know what this person is going to be like if you're married to them for life before you actually make that commitment, or at least for me. That's how I feel.
All right, there you go. And like I said, my whole thing is I'm not giving a set rule for people. I'm just saying that we should be conscious about what we're doing here, because the results as we have been doing them haven't been working as evidence in the data and statistics. And Michael, I want to hear from you, man. I ain't heard from you in a while on one of these Zoom calls. Michael, I know you in the back there, but let's hear from you, brother. If you get your hand up, I want to hear from you, Michael. D, you're back up.
So Deirdre, I miss you. Okay, so anywho, it's all about your love language and what's important to you. So she's absolutely right. The communication key, if we always said it's always there. Whoever you're dealing with, you must be upfront. There's no playing games. Give this person a choice in the matter. If they're not with it for your boundaries and what you're doing for yourself, you must move on. You can't convince someone or try to trick them into something. But again, this is just communication. What I wanted to say was, I'm there for someone who's going to emotionally support me, be patient with me, all those characteristics, morale, stuff like that. The sex is going to come. It's going to be wonderful because I'm there for it. I am patient with it. So you just have to figure out what's important to you. Do you want to test drive? Okay, I don't really need to test drive. I need to test drive how you're going to treat me, and how I have 2 babies. How are you going to treat them? If I lose my job tomorrow, are you going to help me? If you lose your job tomorrow, how am I going to help you? That's what's important to me. Mm-hmm. The sex is going to be wonderful because I'm going to be making love to you. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what you and that person want.
All right. Any comment on Jay saying that why are you teasing a guy?
Oh, again, the person that's for me and on the same page as me will understand that we're not teasing each other.
I'm with you on that, D. Thank you. Yeah. All right. If you guys, I know I put out a pretty high ceiling there, but y'all don't have to agree with me if y'all want to weigh in. Bacchus, you're quiet tonight, which is rare for you. I know you in that kitchen, but we need to hear from you, brother. It's not a conversation if we're not hearing from you, Bacchus. So go ahead, get your hand up for me, man. Let's hear from you. Let's hear what your thoughts are on it. But what you got?
I got a little bit before I'm cooking over here with the girl. Anyway, so we was actually having this conversation, the 90-day rule stuff, everything everybody's saying. Most definitely agree with Jay. Look, I used to have the 90-day rule where I'd be like, you want to wait 90 days to open your legs? I wait 90 days to open my wallet. You dig? Let's keep it 50-50. Let's keep it a buck. Let's see if you're really into me. But I think it's personal responsibility. So from a man's point of view, you have to come in there and know if this chick is into you or not. You can date 89 and she barely returns her phone calls or short with you or whatever. You're just wasting your time. If somebody's not for you, you will know, and you should at least respect yourself enough to be like, I'm worth better, and walk away. I see the point of that video you played, the gentleman was saying. I see where he's coming from and I understand it. It does have its pros and cons, but you just have to be more aware of what you're willing to deal with, tolerate with. And it's all about trying to get to know each other, right? If you're trying to get to know each other, that's cool. But right now in the modern day age, how we live in, all of us men know that there's a woman out there who's got one guy, that, a couple guys she's smashing and a couple guys she's going out on dates for. And that's what most of these cats don't want to do is be taking you out on dates while you smash a Jamarquavius after I done took you all of these places. I ain't with that. We need to make sure. So I know by how you're into me or not and what you do for me. I have a limit of how much I'm going to spend, how much time I'm going to put in. If I'm not getting the ROI, I'm ghosting on to the next one. So that's where I fall into that.
There you go. So there you go. Bacchus with more balanced commentary, but still keeping it real. You see, Bacchus has booed up for the summer. So he's out of commission for a little bit. So we're seeing some of his stances have somewhat softened or mellowed, and it's appreciative. At least I know for a lot of ladies here, they're liking the new Bacchus. I'm liking the new Bacchus. So we're gonna let him get back to doing his thing. But it's good to hear from him. We got Michael. We ain't heard from him a second on Zoom. What you got for us, man?
Man, Bacchus is like a born again single man. Look at him. He's got that anointing oil on him. Anywho, I think the word is availability, right? It's funny how people make themselves available for things they want to make themselves available for, especially the whole 90 days thing. I look at if a person wants me to wait 90 days and they give me their why, the first question I ask, well, if we go after 90 days, will this happen on the 91st day? like, are you gonna tell me, do I gotta wait 180 days? Like, how more can you move the goalposts to you feel it's the right day? So I think we just making the rules up as we go, and there's no set rule. It's based off a feeling. And then you could be like, well, that feeling could go away in just a second. So it's like, are you available? And if you're available, we're adults here. If you've been dating for 10 plus years, you know the rules. Like, let's say, okay, here's where you are, here's where I am. Here's where you're going to, here's where I'm going to. Here's what I'm looking to do in the next 5 years, this is what I'm looking to do. If that syncs up, then what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? We are adults, not teenagers. And the fact that it's like when somebody tell me I'm waiting 90 days, I feel like you might be at an age body-wise, but intimacy-wise, you might as well be a 20-year-old to me.
Mm. There you go. So we heard from Michael, and not to sound like I disagree with you all, because I agree with you. We are adults, and ideally, in an ideal world, we would make rational, mature, thoughtful decisions, but the data shows it's not happening. So maybe in this group of folks here, 92 on a Tuesday night, again, thank you all for coming and having this conversation with us. Maybe this group of folks here, we are mature and we are conscious and we are doing things a thoughtful way, but for the Black community as a whole, and I'm trying to find solutions for the Black community that I would say that the way we have been doing it is not working. And we can tell folks they're adults, but a lot of adults are making really poor decisions, and it's reflected in the data there. And I'm trying to get toward building solutions. He didn't say that at all. Oh, what am I missing, Nancy? I don't think I misinterpreted what Michael's saying. I got what he's saying. He's saying we're adults and we,
No. I was replying to Luz. Replying to Luz. She was saying that Michael was saying that they're young-minded because they didn't want to have sex with him. And I was like, no, that's not what he was. I don't believe that's what he was saying. He was speaking of maturity level or experience level or things like that. And I see him agreeing. So I was just like commenting on that part.
I got you, Nancy. And that is the Nancy I know. Yeah, I didn't know you were responding to her. I thought you were saying I was twisting Michael's words, but thanks. We're gonna let Jay get back in there. What you got for us, Jay?
All right, I'm gonna try to stay on topic. So D, I asked you, how would the right way to ask a man about his package, and pretty much if the package don't measure up, where does that go from there? Where do you go from there? But you totally avoided it, but we all know the answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me finish. It ain't going nowhere. Y'all shutting shit down. Y'all gonna be friends. He's friend zone. We already know if it doesn't measure up, y'all ain't with it. So let me go back to this 90-day process. It is not advantageous to men at all. It's men giving. I know some women in the chat said, yeah, we don't mind going Dutch. Some said sometimes, but most women look down on going Dutch. They look at you like you're a bum, that you broke. Oh, let's go on the free dates. Y'all gonna think he's broke. People just love calling men broke. So that whole going Dutch thing, y'all know y'all not doing it. So why this man has to wait 90 days? And also within this 90-day process, do you expect this man to be monogamous? So you expect him to play around with D in the shower, get wet, get hard, and not do nothing for 90 days with anybody else? Like, this is not realistic. This is some storybook, Bible-ish that's outdated, that's not working. I'm sorry.
All right, there you go. That's one opinion. And again, I'm not pushing one thing or the other. I mean, I think in an ideal world, at one point, things did work satisfactory. Now today, it's so unrealistic for us to wait until marriage. So I just think that's interesting. Whereas in times past, it wasn't. But let's just be thoughtful about that. I know things are different nowadays, though. But what you got for us, Monday?
Hello. All right, I wrote down my notes because I had 3 thoughts about this. The first thing is going back to your first set of visuals you gave us. Mm-hmm. And on those visuals, you talked about the income and how the men measure up to the women. And different age groups and all that good stuff.
Right.
And we talked about how women, as you get older, they tend to be in a higher income bracket and have a harder time. We did the poll. The chances decrease as we get older. So my thing is, a lot of times, even in the 30s and the 40s age group, you hear men say, threat, oh, I won't spend money on you. You don't want to do this with me. But I think for most of us who've gotten to a certain place in our career, that's not a threat, because I can go and eat where I want to eat. I can go do what I want to do. But what we're looking for, and I can just speak for myself, is character. So if I haven't been on the phone with you, if I haven't had enough interaction with you, if I haven't heard enough about what's going on in your head, I can care less about the date. You can tell me you're taking me to Ruth Chris. I don't want to go if I hadn't determined that you're someone that I want to spend my time with. Right. So it doesn't matter to me if you want to take me out or not. Right. And I've tried dating from many different options. I've tried, hey, I'm feeling this person on the second date. I'm going to go ahead and run that. I'm not feeling this person. I'm going to wait 90 days. And I think with today's breakdown in communication between Black people, it doesn't matter what you do, because we're miscommunicating on all levels. I think that also it does require more than 2 weeks in my experience, because you could meet somebody, you could feel them in 2 weeks. But I find after those weeks pass, you hear more and more, you learn more and more. And about a month and a half, you've gathered more information than you would have had in that first week when you were feeling hot, like I'm loving this person. At that point, you can pretty much determine whether you want to sleep with them. You don't care about the package. Don't touch me, don't hug me, I'm done. I've heard what I need to hear. So I think there's just a breakdown in how we communicate and people not being honest and saying what they need to say. I think also that my interest in you can't be determined by me just looking at your package, unless there's some extreme problem, extreme on one end or extreme on another end. But as long as you regular Joe, as long as you got something, I can't determine my level of pleasure with you just by looking at it. So I'm not pushing for that either. So those were my points. And the whole point is that we're not communicating well.
Right. There you go. And I agree with you too, Monday. And a lot of these conversations these guys start throwing into the thing is just, it's a lot of silliness. I mean, this stuff about being used for days. I mean, once you get past a certain age, if you're like in your early 20s and stuff like that, I get it. You're still figuring the things out. But by the time you get in your 30s, which most of us 30s, 40s, 50s, which a lot of us all are, we should know if a woman's interested in us or not. And why are we sweating a little whatever it is we're doing on a day? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, this stuff's not happening to the extent that it is. And if it is happening, then you just need to work on your game some or something.
Cardo,
this just doesn't happen.
Cardo, I'm sorry, bro. Can I ask Monday a follow-up question real quick?
Yeah.
Real quick, Monday, when you we're speaking on character, and I was want to ask you, when you say character, is character based off who they are amongst, how they value amongst other people, or how they value amongst themselves? And the only reason I say that, what if it's a man that's like, he's not close to people, he's really to himself, he doesn't have many, for his friend circle is really small, he just go to work and come home. He really don't go out do anything. Do you value him as a much high character man in that way? Okay.
Yeah. I'm one of those women that see high value in things that are not monetary. So, high value could be how you handle your business. If you're a manager at Target, but you give your all and you do everything that you can do to provide for those that you need to provide for with your salary at Target, do you have integrity? Are you a person that's about your community and lifting people up and being positive? What are those character traits? You know what I'm saying?
So there are two sides to that. But what if he's not? Let's say he don't care about the community. He just care about paying the bill, coming home. The communication is not his focus. His focus is just him.
Yeah, and I think that's a beauty is in the eye of the beholder thing, because I can value an introvert or somebody who just goes to work and come home. Somebody else might not value that. They might say, oh, he's whack. I need somebody who's hype. But it depends on the individual person, I think, with that.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Monday. Tawana, we're going to skip over you. If you can get your camera on, we'll come back to you. We'll go to Lena. What's up, Lena? You're muted, Lena.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Okay, Carter, I do agree with you when you are speaking, especially to the men, because I've been hearing so much about them spending money for dates. And it does go with the whole evaluation of, like you're saying, if you're taking time, and you should know at a certain age how to judge if that person is into you or not. So worrying about, if you're wasting money, I just think that that's crazy. So if you're really worried about that, you probably really shouldn't be dating. I also have not heard, everyone is so, they're talking about, okay, they don't want to wait the 90 days, which is fine because everyone has their own time frame and stuff, because there's a lot of different factors with that. But no one's mentioning anything about testing for STDs. So, okay, yeah, if you want to have sex with somebody the second day, third date, do you know their status? Are you asking these questions? Because there's certain things. Are you willing to go and get tested? Because you can ask somebody, okay, like, what is your status? And they be like, oh, I know I don't have anything. And I find that a lot of people really don't know their status. So what about that? So you want to test drive the car, but come on, don't you want to also make sure that you're not putting yourself in danger?
Right.
Because that can happen. So we ain't gonna go into the whole medical gist of it, but that can happen. So I don't hear anyone speaking about being tested or, having those responsibilities.
Right.
And then the other thing, I think Jay had mentioned when he was talking about when the other person mentioned about the sex, meaning the guy's package, okay? And I think it goes both ways. Yeah, a woman could say, okay, well, he's not probably whatever size that she's looking for, if that's how she feels. And then she says, bye. It's the same thing with the man. He could feel that he had sex with her and the sex is whack, and then the same thing. So if a woman is feeling like, yeah, she wants the guy to be probably a certain size, I would say, what's wrong with that? Because I think that the men do the same thing when it comes to being intimate, and he feels like, is that woman pleasing him sexually, whatever it is that he might be looking for. Let me just see the other thing that I wrote down. And I think that was it. So I just wanted to kind of touch the bases on that.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing us back to the whole STD thing. We saw how prevalent STDs are. Why aren't is anybody doing that when they're when you talk about these conversations? We're saying we're all adults here. Mike had a question. Would you, and this is a personal question, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, Lena, but would you still, if a guy has an STD, would you still see him?
No.
Okay, there you go. So no go for Lena. What you got for us, Tawana?
Well, this is my view on it. I think that anybody can be the person that you want them to be and be the representative for 90 days. 90 days, if you think about it, is not a long time. Look how fast this year has gone. We're already almost in July. So 90 days is not a long time. And for you to open up your body to somebody and share that intimate part of your body as a woman, because we are receivers, to me would be a really, sorry, that's my dog. It would be a really, really bad idea. And it doesn't benefit the woman to do that, because number one, I do believe that a lot of times women, we're more emotional than men already. So therefore, it just wouldn't make any sense for you to give up your body so soon and not even know enough about that person. As the other lady said, you don't know what their STD status is or anything about that person. And 90 days is just not a long time. As it relates to the money and the going out, some of the guys were saying that in terms of them waiting 90 days because they want to, hold on for 90 days until the end, and then deciding that they will take the woman on a date or whatever. Most of us women can go to the movies ourselves. We can purchase our own food. We can take ourselves out to dinner. We want your time. We want to know that you're consistent. We want to know that you are a man of your word. So those are the things that we're looking for, which money can't buy. So that's all I had to say, is that, most of us are just looking for consistency and just being a good person. And as the other lady said, character is, Lena said that, character. Be a person of your word, have character, morals, values, just doing the right thing and being a good person. And obviously, yes, you should have a God that you are subscribing to, where you lean to for direction, so that I can know that the person that I'm with we're in the same belief. So that's all I had to say. But I just think 90 days would be like really a horrible thing for women to do, because we're on the losing end as it relates to that. And you don't want to sleep with everybody in 90 days. I mean, 90 days, this guy goes for 90 days, he gets it, he's gone. Men are not stupid. They know it's 90 days now. So after 90 days, he's gone. And then you got to start over with another guy. You gonna do another 90 days? That just doesn't make sense. It's insanity.
I don't know. I mean, are there guys out here really just like waiting 90 days just to get to cook? That's a long time to wait. You just want sex. I don't think that a guy would put that much investment in you for 90 days only to get it and run. That's just my personal opinion. That's just me. So I mean, I don't know. But I hear what you're saying, Tawana. I get the fear there. What you got for us, Dr. Brandis, Dr. Jones?
Pardo, call me Brandy.
Okay, Brandy, we'll go with that.
I had my little notes here, so I won't forget what I was talking about. But sorry.
Take your time. All right.
So just real quick, I know they were talking about like the size of a man's penis, but I guess my point is like the fact that it's small or big doesn't really matter if it's not functional, right? Mm-hmm. So there are several women who have relationships with men who don't have a functional penis, and they're happy and they're in fulfilling relationships. And so that's not really an issue. Women deal with that all the time. So that's one thing. And also, like, I'm a very traditional woman in so many aspects. And so I was hoping that somebody would speak up to this, but nobody did. But there are several women who don't subscribe to the 90-day rule. I'm one of them. But I do subscribe to being committed to long-term abstinence and waiting for marriage, or vice versa. But there's a standard that I have for myself. And I don't really care about money or going Dutch. I saw a lot of that in the comments, and that doesn't matter to me because I have my own money. So it's not an issue of, will somebody pay for my dinner? That could care less. I cook every day, so I don't really care about that. I'm also dating with intention, and I hope that the men that I date also have the same intentions that I do. So it's, for me, it's not necessarily about 90 days. It's more so I am waiting for the man that I hope to marry, and it's the right person. Now, I could say if I met somebody who I felt like this is the guy for me, if that took 3 months, if it took 3 weeks, then I would, potentially have sex with him. But he would have to be that special person. I've waited for 6 years before. So it really depends. But again, I didn't hear anybody talk about abstinence in the group. I didn't hear anybody talk about waiting for marriage, really. So I kind of wanted to like represent those people who believe what I believed.
That was me. I was in that group. I was in that group too, and somebody else said they do too. And
I'm in that group as well.
A lot of guys.
Thank you. So hoorah.
A lot of guys were calling cap on the. You said that there are a lot of women who are in relationships with men whose package doesn't function normally, and they're in happy, healthy relationships. A lot of guys were calling cap on that, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. We talk about older women, like, when a guy has reached that age where, or what are we talking about there? When
it doesn't have to be older. There are younger guys who have erectile dysfunction, and they are in relationships, and so it doesn't matter about, like, the size is just not the issue to say, oh, I can't. But also I was thinking too that, you talked about test driving the package. What happens if you marry somebody and the sex was good and he had an accident, he's paralyzed? Then what? So you test drove it, right? But now he can no longer have sex. So you banked that relationship on sex. Then what? So all those are very superficial. I'm hearing like a lot of superficial conversations, and to me, this doesn't make a lot of sense. So for me, I think that like you should build a relationship on more than sex. I'm not hearing those conversations, in my opinion.
I got you. And I think you have something there. I can't go all the way, because I do think that sex is a very important component to a relationship, and I don't want to discount it at all. And I don't want to. I can't, for me, it's important that the woman I'm with have a functioning private parts. And I don't, I don't think that for a woman, I wouldn't give them any flack for not having for me, if a man can't have it. Hold on, y'all. We're let's see, we're almost reaching our time limit, and I want to get some folks who haven't spoken. We got a few folks with their hand. Let's see what we got. Okay, yeah, we got Reginald, we got T. We're gonna get T in here, and we're gonna get back to y'all, but just so we can get it, so everybody can weigh in before we end this thing. But welcome, it's good to see we got 91 folks in the house. Y'all like the sex talks, huh? Everybody's been hanging in there. What's up, T? What you got for us?
Okay, so I've been taking notes, and what it sounds like, and just from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the guys who speak about dating and money and sex is transactional. Money on dates don't necessarily buy sex unless that's the goal of the woman. If she's all about the money, then yeah, it's about the sex. Because typically women who are dating can pay for their own meal and can pay for yours too. I've been on dates where guys want to pay for my meal, and I've been on dates where guys want to go Dutch, and I understand both sides of that view, because people are different. And so if I'm getting to know somebody, I'm not digging in pockets. I just want to know that you're willing to spend time and that you're interested in me. So sometimes if I'm dating a guy and he wants to pay for my meal, then I might pay for the tip, or I might take him out on a date because I'm interested in getting to know him as well if he's interested in getting to know me. I'm the type of person, I'm more concerned about how you treat people, not necessarily how much money you have. But if a guy is spending money on me and the next thing he's looking for is sex, I'm not interested because I can pay for my own meal, as the other ladies have said. And another thing that I wanted to make a point on is that the focus is not specifically on the 90 days. People are getting hung up on that number, but how long does it take for you to really get to know somebody? Because you can sleep with somebody and then realize they crazy as a darn bed bug. After you done already had sex with them and you trying to get rid of them, and now you connected and somebody don't want to let go. So I think we just really got to, and again, getting to know each other and know there's no book on how long it takes to get to know somebody and have sex with somebody. That's ultimately going to be between those two people.
All right. Thank
you.
Thank you, T. All right, we're going to does Naomi or Reginald want to can y'all put your cameras on? We'll get to y'all, but if not, we're going to skip to Ken. Ken, what you got for us, Ken? Good seeing you. And we'll come back to you, Naomi. I see you just turned your camera on. What's up, Ken? Good seeing you.
What's up, bro? These cookie cutter rules that people want to make up, that is not going to work for everyone. Like all that stuff that you read in those conventions, that's all crap. Because the individual you deal with, that's one that's going to say this works or that doesn't work. I mean, it's just asinine to the people who live with this stuff. And it's no wonder we got all these relationship experts in America and all these books. Anywhere else in the world, it's basic math. Here, they're making it like calculus. Like who likes you, who's going to see you as gold. That's it. All this praying to Jesus, all of Buddha, 50 million relationship experts. This nation is full of suckers. Like if I was good at writing books, I would write a book so I can retire my ass. Like this is just asinine to me, but it is what it is.
There you go. So Ken's pretty consistent with his messaging, and he thinks that these relationship talks are all overblown. This is what it sounds like, but I don't know. There's a relationship crisis, Ken, and I'm just trying to do my little part to help solve it. And so I think that by having these conversations, we're hopefully we're moving the ball in a good direction.
Just randomly, since people don't know what their value is or have no clue, why don't we do this? Like, you know how like people have a credit score? Have a bunch of people in here and have like 100 people rate them. Like, would you date this person? So once these get the feedback, like, okay, this is my dating market. Because I think what it is people are just not going to everyone wants to drive a Porsche. You can't afford it. It's just like the real world. You can only get what your value is. And if the market ain't taking you, that's not your lane.
There you go. There you go. Consistent to the end. What you got for us, Naomi?
Okay, so I'm curious what's influencing people's decision on whether to implement the 90-day rule. So I'm curious whether their goals in relationship is kind of a big influence. So whether that is you're looking to casually date, or whether you're looking for a long-term relationship, or you're desiring marriage, whether that's a big influencer in people's decisions to whether to implement or not implement the 90-day rule. And then my other thing is, I haven't heard anybody really bring up like the body count stigma, because I don't think that we've eradicated the body count stigma. So all of this talk about like, you know, give it up on the second date, I feel like those are the same people who then turn around and perpetuate the not the 90 day stigma, but rather the body count stigma.
Right.
I feel like that hasn't been brought up.
Yeah, it hasn't. That's a good point, Naomi, because the same guys who were telling women, you know, hey, 2 dates, you should be giving it up after 2 dates, were also the same guys saying they don't want a woman with a high body count. So how do we square those 2 points? And you asked the question, your first question was, why are people implementing the 90-day rules? And for me personally, I'm doing it because to me, it gives me time to get to know someone. I am marriage minded, and I feel like 90 days is a good rule of thumb to really get to know somebody and not rush things. Because as a lot of speakers in the videos and the presentations, and just from personal life experience, that sex can complicate things, and it can have us thinking one way where something may not necessarily be the way we're thinking. So for me, it's just something different. I'm trying to really try to get to know someone before I move forward in a relationship. But I think people have different reasons as to why they might try a 90-day rule or something similar to it. But thanks, Naomi. If anybody else wants to answer in chat, just for sake of time, y'all can answer Naomi. We can go to Reginald. What you got for us, Reginald? You're muted, Reginald.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Good. I typically don't say anything. I just listen.
Right.
But I also wanted to piggyback on what Brandy was saying about the abstinence and how not a lot of people is doing that. But I am one of the guys that I'm actually committed to being abstinent until I get married.
Go.
I've actually been in a relationship when sex was the factor. And I've come to realize that if you take that away, what else do you have? There's no friendship, there's no commitment, there's no longevity, there's just sex. So once you take sex away and you build on solid ground, a solid foundation on being friends, and building your finances together, or talking about those things and talking about building your life together, and you build that foundation, then after that, once you get married, the sex is going to come because you're in love with each other. It's going to just be fantastic, no matter what happens, or no matter how big his size is, or if she's dry like a desert, you figure it out. But once you take sex away out of the equation, your foundation will absolutely be solid. That's all I got to say.
There you go. Thanks. And he normally doesn't chime in, but Reginald said he's gonna chime in for this one and stand up and kind of say, voice his opinion, just to let people know, let ladies know there are guys who are out here practicing abstinence. And thanks, Reginald, for speaking up, because we needed some different perspectives. It occasionally gets a little exhausting for me trying to go get some of the narrative that's out there. But props to you, Reginald. Thanks for speaking up. Peggy, what you got for us?
Hey all, I have notes, but my hands are wet. So I think the process is strategic. I like the analogy of looking at home buying, right? There's a due diligence phase. I've closed on 2 homes in less than 21 days. It's about doing the inspection, checking out, the person's mindset, asking what their credit score is, or trying to get a handle on it. And you can most times tell by, various factors. And then Cardo, the statistics are staggering, right? So the older I get, the less sexual partners I have, because I value my health and my body. So the whole concept of test driving the car, yes, that comes after researching the car, right? You're looking at, can you afford this car? Can you afford the maintenance on this car? Et cetera, et cetera. And that does, again, take time. But I believe that at a certain age, we know what we want, right? We have our list, we have our deal breakers. So once we decide to take that step with that person, I believe that it should be a conscious step. So that's all I have.
All right, there we go. So I feel like it's a little bit different from what you were saying in the comments, Peggy, because in the comments you were saying 3 dates, and I need to see what's up with them. So it seemed like you're a little more balanced.
A period, right? Or these 3 days. These 3 days could be over 3 months. They could be over 3 or 4 weeks, right? Again, it's about the mental mindset. Have I been talking to this person every day? Have I been texting with this person, every 2 hours? It's about, the data that you ascertain.
Right,
I'm a business
exactly.
person. So I am looking at the data more than I'm looking at the deed.
I got you, and I agree, because like I said, everybody's timeline is going to be what's 9 months for 2 people is going to, and the interaction and the level of depth and intimacy that you're diving in with the person is going to be different from people to people. Because I notice the way a lot of people talk when they say they talking to people nowadays. When I really dive into like what they're doing, it's like I'm like, how you even getting to really know a person? Because y'all are texting every other day or every now and then. Y'all only been out a time or two, and then this is a person you're talking to. I don't understand what's happening there. This is the way people are doing it nowadays. I don't get that. When I'm talking to somebody, I'm all in. And this is why I don't try to talk to a lot of different people at once, because I need to really get to know you and dive into you. I'm not going to waste time over a long period of time. Nobody's that busy like we like to act like we are, or either that or we're talking to too many people at once. But just take your time, get to know one person at once. This is what I advocate for, what people should do. Take your time, get to know one person at a time, and really dive in. Don't waste your time. If the person's for you, cool. If they're not, keep it moving. All right.
I believe in the same thing, Cardo. And sometimes I lie to people. I'll be like, yeah, I'm talking to 2, 3 people. But I could be just talking to that one person. I'm trying to see where they're heading. I'm trying to see if, even though they think I'm talking to other people, are they also talking to other people because they think I'm talking to other people? Right? So really, it's all a mental test. That's what life is, and that's what dating is. It's all a test.
All right. Thank you, Peggy. All right, we're gonna let Regine get in there. What you got for us? I gotta change your name. You're
I had to use a different laptop because my personal laptop was acting up, so that's why this is my business laptop. So listening to this, I think the problem is that we don't have any social norms in our community. Like everybody just does whatever they feel like it, and because everybody feels like they have to be authentic, and maybe we don't have. Maybe marriage is not the goal, I guess. Maybe in our community, but like you said, Cardo, there is a problem, or there is, I guess, a social trend of people not getting married. Some people would not consider that a problem, but that is what's happening. And I've noticed like there's a thing with serial monogamy. Like people meet somebody, they put physical intimacy way ahead of like emotional intimacy. Then they date for a few months, don't like each other, break up, and it's like over and over again. And nobody wants to do anything differently. Like, and listening to the gentleman on this call, there's just a lot of cynicism. Like you could have like 10 women say, I don't care about the money. I have my own money. And it's like, no. All you guys care about is the money. I'm like, maybe in your youth, maybe, but now it's like people have grown up. They've passed that. They're looking for something more stable, but a lot of the men are still in the same mind frame that it's all about the money and it's sex for money, and nothing's going to change unless we change our cynicism and we actually establish some kind of like norm. I mean, I agree with Ken with a lot of things as far as, dating in your lane and this and that. But beside that, I do think we have to like establish some kind of like established norm as a culture. Like, where are we going? What do we want for our culture?
You said a lot there, and that's kind of, you started talking about cultural norms, and I agree with you completely. And we have none, to be honest. And would you look at other communities, they really do have cultural norms, especially like immigrant communities who come into the United States, and you see is different outcomes in that when they have a cultural norm that they live by. And the fact that we as a Black community, we really don't have any, and we heard a lot of different things tonight. So and to be honest, I do spend time thinking about how do we establish some cultural norms as a community when we all think completely different things. And I don't know what's going to unite us or bring us together, because we just all have so many different varying opinions and we come from different perspectives. We have different religious beliefs. So some of us are non-religious at all. Some of us are, so we just have different things. We don't have like a unifying thing that can kind of bring us together. And he talked about the thing with serial monogamy, and he just talked about the just overall level of cynicism. And I agree, there is a high level of cynicism, because I think if we're, I don't think that this stuff we're talking about with dates and getting used for dates and all that stuff, I don't know. I think we got to leave. We got to move past that conversation, really get to how do we solve some of these issues. But great commentary, Regine. Thank you so much. We're going to see, we'll probably end it at close to 10. We're going to let Simone get in, and then Dottie, and then we'll probably end the recording, and then we'll open it up for people who want to hang out and talk further. But what's up, Simone? What you got? And shout out to Anna. I see you in the back, Anna. Anna don't be green with a lot of what I be saying on a personal level. It's good to see Anna in here. Good to see Timmy in here. What's up, Simone? What you got?
So I just wanted to say that I think the 90-day rule would work a lot better if it wasn't or just like any type of waiting game, whether it's 90 days or just a couple months or whenever you actually get to know the person. It'll work a lot better if instead of that time period of no sex, it's just that time period of no romance, because then you won't have to worry about leading the guy on. Then you won't have to worry about any sort of just pressure on the relationship. But especially for us to utilize Meetup a lot, it can be an easy platform. Be like, hey, are you going to this meetup? Meeting in casual group settings, meeting as friends, getting to know each other on a strictly platonic level. And then after a while, that's a lot easier to see, okay, is this someone that is actually going to be my best friend? Because that's what a life partner is. It's your best friend for life. Or is this someone that after like a month or two going to all these group settings, you're just like, yeah, no, I'm not really feeling him. We're just better off as friends, and that's it.
Right. I agree. Good point, Simone. I agree. Meetup is a good place to evaluate, the character of a person, to see how they are as a friend, like getting a friends group with that person and just observe them from a distance, and just see how they behave and stuff like that. Because I know just from, I really started getting heavy into Meetup in September when I started this group, but I was on Meetup before, but I really started getting heavy when I started this group here. And you get a chance to kind of see people and see where they're at, and you learn things about people as time progresses. So that whole friends first thing that we had started talking about in a conversation a time ago, it actually works. It actually works, and you get to you see things about a person, and you can make it some assessments on a person just from being a friend. And I kind of like that approach to it. Jay's calling cap on me, or maybe he's calling cap on somebody else, but we're gonna let Dottie go, and then Dottie's probably going to close us out, and then we'll open it up and just be in a big old room and talk it out. What's up, Dottie? Just trying to figure out how to unmute her mic. I don't know if I can do it for her. There you go.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So as I listen to the conversation tonight, it's like I hear so much fear and trauma in our community. It's strange because I grew up with a preacher as a father and a first lady as a mother. And you always hear, no sex until you get married, no sex until you get married. Although that's not what I did. My first time having sex, I got pregnant. So my relationship began that way. But my parents always told me, they always told my brothers, because I have 3 older brothers, they always told them to date outside of your race, because Black women, they sometimes come into relationship with so much trauma that it's hard to deal with them.
Your parents told your brothers this?
Yes.
Okay.
So my brothers, they're all married outside of their race. And when you think of white women and the other culture woman, they don't wait until marriage to have sex, but yet they step into marriage like early with no fear, no hesitation, no, I do this and you'll do this for me. I heard someone say earlier in the conversation, if you're going to wait 90 days to open your legs, I'm going to wait 90 days, to open my wallet. And it made me think, well, if that's the case, if he's unable to see his kids one weekend, would he say, I'm not going to pay the child support check? well, I didn't see them, so then I'm not going to do this. So it's like our culture difference is so different when it comes to white Americans and Black Americans, that marriage is always a struggle for Black people. Like my parents, they married before having sex. They always told me to do the same thing, but that's not what happened. But at the same time, it's like I find myself coming across men who grow up without fathers in the household. They struggle to make commitments of marriage. And I always wonder, why is that?
Yeah, it's interesting. You raise a lot of interesting questions there, Dottie. And I guess the thing you were pointing to was a lot of trauma, a lot of times unspoken in the Black community, that we need to heal from and learn from. And we're going to end the recording here, but if I can kind of move us in a direction going until the end of the recording, can we talk about maybe some solutions, y'all? Can y'all think of some solutions? How do we start to get this thing back on track here? I threw out some stuff here, but as we open up, let's try to get to some solutions maybe. And we'll kind of go from there. But thank everybody for coming. I think it was an interesting dialogue. Let me just also ask this too. Something happened recently, it's been a big thing here, and I want y'all, if y'all can just type in the chat real quick, yes or no. Do y'all want to have a unrecorded Zoom and talk about the Roe v. Wade decision that had recently happened? And we'll just do it spur of the moment. We may can do it next week, but let me just hear yes or no, and we'll try to do a consensus. Kevin saying no. A lot of guys are a little hesitant about. A lot of guys don't really want to talk about it. So if we do talk about it, we're going to have it in a careful way. But okay, a lot of folks want to talk about it. So maybe we'll do a impromptu Zoom next week, and we can get our thoughts together and hopefully come together and have a dialogue about it, about the implications of it, just about our feelings around it in a way that's respectful of one another, and we can hear each other out, because I know we have different opinions on it. But I just wanted to get everybody's opinion. It sounds like the consensus is yes. Folks want to have that conversation with some positive people, and I think I want to have that conversation as well. But we're going to end it. Thanks everybody. It was an enlightening conversation. We're going to end it, and we're going to try to maybe talk about some solutions here going to wrap it up. I think that one of the solutions is what we're doing tonight is we're having open and honest conversations. And I think that that's kind of what moves the ball forward. It puts it at the top of our forefront of our minds, and we're thinking about solutions just by having the conversation in and of itself. So I think that the conversation is helpful. I don't know if we'll do a breakout room, Simone. I don't know. Because I don't want to. The breakout rooms, when we do the breakout rooms, we get to being up here kind of late. So I don't know if we'll do a breakout room. We'll see. I'll talk to y'all to see maybe if y'all want to do a breakout room or not. But let me go ahead and end this.